wanted to show you guys how to avoid making a bad trade by understanding how to establish the range of your current price action. And I think this is something that a lot of people sleep on, and I think it's why a lot of people end up going the wrong direction, whether they want to go long or short, because they just don't understand the range, which gives you a context and a better perspective as far as where you are in the current price action. So in this video, I want to show you not only how to find range with your own naked eye, but also use AI or leverage AI like ChatGPT to help you find it if you can't establish it, or if you're having a hard time establishing it on your own. And then I want to show you how it plays out during the New York opening range breakout. And I think that strategy, coupled with understanding range, will really help you to angle this trade to be a winning trade. Let's talk about how to find the range first. There's multiple ways that people like to find range. Some people use pivot points, right? This could be a pivot point. This is a pivot point. That's a pivot point, that's a pivot point, that's a pivot point. But which pivot point are you going to choose? The pivot points aren't going to help you establish the range per se. They may help at least assist you and give you an idea where the top or the bottom is. But currently you're trying to make a trade that maybe lasts a couple hours. You're not trying to do a swing trade. This is a short intraday trade, and so you need to make sure that you're using local pivots and ranges. So the best way to do that is you're going to first find the last place that price tried to escape going to the upside. And if you look at this chart, it's the closest place, right? You're not trying to go that far back. Again, we're on the hourly chart, and I think that 16 hours is far enough to go for making a day trade. You don't need to go that far back in history to determine your rate for the current price action. So now that you've established the high, now you got to find the low. Obviously in this range here, the lows are here, right? But if you didn't know how far back to go, you would think maybe here, I don't know. But what you want to do is you want to find the current lowest lows where price tried to escape. Okay, and you can see that there's wicks here, right? Price tried to push down, came back in. Price tried to push down, came back in. Same here, pushed back in, and then it took off from there. So this is an obvious range where bulls won, right? Bears try to push down, bears won, and it held this particular line. And so I'm gonna grab a horizontal ray. If you guys don't know what a horizontal ray looks like, it looks just like this, and you can find it over here in the left corner under the trend lines, and just start so it ends up on a favorite bar like this. You can just grab it really quickly. I'm gonna establish the high here first, and then I'm gonna establish the low. And I can just copy it by hitting Control and then my mouse button. So there you go, man. That is as easy as it can be. The second way you can do this, you can just go to ChatGPT, make sure you take your screenshot, then run over to ChatGPT, hit the plus button, add image, scroll down to wherever your screenshot is at. For me, it's all the way at the bottom here. Go ahead and double click and use a prompt like this. And I'll leave this in the description. Okay, the image is a screenshot of Bitcoin's chart on the 1 hour time frame. I am prepping to take the New York session or trade at 9:30 Eastern time. I need you to help me identifying the range. Make sure it is local enough or relevant for the intraday trade. This is not a swing trade. Range needs to make sense for the New York morning session trade. And I'll leave that prompt because it worked. It gave me the exact numbers, okay, that I'm giving you right now. Here it is, 88.8 to 90.2. Where are we at here? 88.74. It's right there. And to 90.1. See that? So ChatGPT can be very useful at times. I'm starting to use it a lot more for trading. So I encourage you guys to experiment and ask it a lot of questions that you may have about trading, because it tends to know exactly what to say. So be descriptive and be detailed when you do ask, but I'll leave you that prompt just so you can find range. Now, that being said, we're right here at 9:30. I'm using a replay so that we can go back and look how this all pans out. And so now that we've established the range on the hourly, let's go to the 1 minute, okay, and see how this plays out. Okay, so right off the bat, we're at the top of the range. And so for me, at this point in time, I'm not looking to go long, right? You don't want to go long at the top of the range, okay? You go short at the top of the range, you go long at the bottom. Now, it's a good idea to understand where you're at in the range and to draw a midline, because oftentimes you may be in the middle of the range at that given point in time. And so that's another place that you don't necessarily want to make a trade, but it's also important to know where you're at. Okay, you can grab a rectangle if you want, okay, and do something like this. If you go into the settings by double clicking the rectangle, you can add a midpoint. And so if I double click this, I can add the middle line here. And if you want to take a little bit of the darkness out, just go a little transparent, and there you go. So now you have your midpoint. All right, and you can see how price bounces off of it as well, and it's its own trend line. So let's see how this plays out. So right off the bat in the morning, I'm looking here. Now it's 9:30 and price is just taking a nosedive. Okay, why? Why did that happen so fast? And look, guys, it came straight down. It came straight down to the bottom of the range. And it's like magic, right? There's like a border there, right? And it's invisible to most people, but the institutions, the whales, people that have a lot of money, that have a lot of experience, understand that price is only going to play inside of the range at least for the first few hours in the morning, and sometimes late into the afternoon into the Asia session, right? Once the Asia session starts around 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? I'm sorry, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So you can see that already came down. So this would have been one nice trade, right? And if I press play, I'm not sure if this is where the end of the day is currently, but let's see if it's made its way back up to touch the top of the range again. And sometimes it will bounce inside of this range throughout the day. Yesterday, I believe it went about 8 times. It bounced up, down, up, down, up, down. And each one of those would have been nice trades, right? So for this trade, bang, long, okay? You went long here, and now it's come down to the 50% line. And let's see if it travels back all the way down to the bottom of the range one more time. I would be surprised because I haven't looked at this in a while, but almost. So there's where we're at in the current price range, right? So if you would have just established this right before you started trading, you would have had a nice short, which I took this morning and I caught that whole thing. And then if you want to be a little bit more risk on, try and catch the full reversal from that move, right? So you go long here, bang, and then you can try one more time. The more times that price bounces up and down inside of one of these channels, it's going to break out eventually. Okay, the borders become weak the more they're hit. So just realize that these borders are good for maybe 4, at the most, I would say 4 touches, okay, each side. So at the most, just realize that these are good days where we're getting good volatility, because this happened yesterday. I'm just gonna guess real quick at this range. It's almost obvious, right? This was yesterday's range. It probably came down a little lower, yeah. And so once you establish the range for the day, guys, you can play inside of these walls and go long, short, long, short, long, right? You can do this all day if you wanted to once you've established the range. And you know, that is just something that I think is vital to understand if you're going to get into not just the New York Open breakout trade, but any trade for that matter. Any asset, you can use this at any point of the day. It doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that you need to understand that there tends to be a range that develops, and it normally develops on the hourly time frame. So hopefully you guys picked that up. If you didn't, please ask me some questions. If you liked it, go ahead and like it, subscribe, share, all the good stuff. I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.